Happy Tuesday, everyone. This is Yuri, aka Russian Prototype. It's almost New Year. We're almost in 2022. Hence, the topic of today's discussion is how to improve your love life in 2022. I want to focus primarily on two main points to kind of like direct this discussion. All right. They are going to be self improvement and relationship investment. And I want to make sure I'll make a quick disclaimer before we go into that. And the disclaimer is that this is my list. I'm not a licensed professional or relationship expert, so these are just my opinions. Be sure to take all of it with a grain of salt, and always use your independent judgment. Okay. So, as I mentioned, the discussion about two main ways to do so. To improve your love life in 2022, we're going to revolve around self improvement and relationship investment. Okay. So, naturally, the first question that comes to mind is why look inward first? And in my opinion, we need to do that in order to self improve. When we're able to self improve, we're able to increase our value. It's that simple. Anytime that you going to make yourself better, your value is going to go up in the sexual marketplace. And then when you increase your value, you're able to attract a higher quality dating pool. So obviously, if I'm as a man see a lot of value in you as a woman, there's going to be more of other men just like me who is going to be interested in dating you. That makes a lot of sense. So the next logical question, what can you realistically improve about yourself? And this is where we would need to start with introspection to figure out tangible things. I don't know how many people really take time to sit down and think critically about where they at and what they can do better. So a helpful exercise that we can do to make that happen is to write down things, take a piece of paper and write down things that are important to you and select 2 5 of your priorities that you deem the most important out of this list, and then develop your own personal plan to implement that, right? So how can we do it? What is the example? The example is you sit down, you start writing things down, you identify the following: get 7 to 8 hours of good night sleep every night, exercise 30 to 60 minutes daily, stimulate the mind by reading, watching meaningful content daily. Now, notice these things are tangible in nature. They are not, I need to get better at exercise. They are not, I need to get more sleep. They're tangible. They are SMART goals. Get 7 of 8 hours of good night's sleep. You can measure that on the next day. You can wake up, you can look at the clock, you can say, okay, did I get 7 or 8 hours tonight, last night, or I didn't? You can answer that question, yes or no. So that's important because you want to be able to figure out those tangible things to be able to know whether or not you reach that objective, you reach that goal. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of general information. So the next thing is determining the things that will help you to achieve your optimal state, right? So we do that to put ourselves in an optimal state. What is the optimal state? Is a state in which you can be the best version of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. This is my definition of it. So let me put it on the screen for you. So optimal state is a state in which you can be the best version of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. And so the next thing is when you are the best version of yourself, you are going to attract the best. That's just, I mean, that's, to me, that's obvious. If you are absolutely best version of yourself, you're going to showcase the world who you are. World is going to look at you in a different way. There's a big difference between the best version of yourself, the mediocre version of yourself, and the worst version of yourself. These three people are just not one and the same. So you will naturally, also another important point is that you will naturally seek the similar energy in return. When you know you are at your best, you're going to be seeking an energy that can match that. All right. The next point is that introspection will allow you to ask yourself tough questions. Where have I came short in the past? Which of my personal traits held me back before or holding me back right now? This is another important point. So this is not just to do these things for the sake of get better at one thing. This is to think critically. Okay, what things I actually do well? What things I don't do well? What things based on the past relationships I know I failed at? And all of this leads to self-awareness. And you can just put the hashtag in the chat right now, self-awareness, because self-awareness is the key. There is a space, there's a difference, not a space, there's a difference between how we perceive ourselves and how world perceives us a lot of times. And so if we start developing self-awareness for ourselves based on the previous experiences and based on the current experiences, and also taking into consideration the opinion of others, this is going to really help you as a person. I believe it. And the thing is that you probably already know the answer to a lot of these questions, right? Pertaining to self-awareness. Some of the things that you do well, you're aware of. Some of the things that maybe you don't do well, maybe you're aware of, but maybe not. And so if not, then spend some time to figure it out. Let me stop right here and let me acknowledge folks that joining us live. Hello, Jamie. How are you? Great to see you. Heather is in the house. How are you today? We have Daphne in the house. No problem. I appreciate you jumping on. We have Joanna in the house. Hello. Thank you for joining. We have V in the house. Thank you for being here. We have Estrella in the house. Hi, Estrella. Thanks for joining us live as well. We have Ariana in the house. Hello, hello. Thanks for hanging out. Yes. So self-awareness is a big thing. We have some hashtag in the chat right now for self-awareness. It's a big thing. If we don't know ourselves, how do we expect, our partner to know us? All right. So the next thing is common traits that people are generally attracted to. I want to be able to just talk about that because there's just so much to it, right? So these are just some things that I put together. So in my opinion, there is some commonality, right? I believe that people are generally attracted to authenticity. People going to be attracted to honesty, kindness, curiosity, humor, patience, consideration, respect, listening, clear communication, fairness, intelligence. I mean, those are all good things. When I think about another person and what I would look for in another person, I would want that person to portray at least some of these things, right? It's hard to, maybe we're not looking for perfection here. Maybe they're not going to have all of these things. But I would really be drawn towards a person who has those type of qualities, because with those type of qualities, you can build something long term. With those type of qualities, the other person can help you to become a best version of yourself. And so I deem these important. I wanted to spend a little bit of time to talk about physical appearance. Physical appearance, it's something that comes up in conversations quite frequently. And I think it could be a sore point for many individuals. And what I really want to be able to relate today is that we need to be able to take ownership of how we look. This is one thing that no one else but you has control over. So when we talk about weight, clothes you wear, personal hygiene, and yes, attitude, body language, it's all going to be part of your physical appearance. This is by far, I don't want to say the easiest thing that we can do, but maybe it is. Maybe it is, because we have the direct say in how we look, how we act, how we smell, what we wear. And another thing that is important is that we constantly tell the world who we are through these things all the time. So if you're going to leave home looking like a hot mess, well, what do you expect? If you appear sloppy, the world will think you are sloppy. Don't expect anything otherwise. By the way, if you're watching live, be sure to smash this like button. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. If you're watching from Twitter or Facebook, be sure to leave a comment. Shout out to everyone who's watching from those two platforms as well. Let's see if we have any comments or questions. It looks like Jamie said, "Agree. This is like my list for a guy." Great. So this takes us to the next point. The next point is relationship investment. So we just covered points related to self-improvement, and these cannot be undermined. But we also need to look at relationship investment. And so relationship investment, actually Heather sent me a video. I'm going to share my screen momentarily. When it comes to relationship investment, one important thing that we need to consider is our duties and responsibilities. And so in this video, I watched it yesterday. It's a great video. I'm not going to play it right now, but I wanted to show it to you so you can watch it later. It's by Megan Moon. And the name of the video, the title, "What Being Married in Korea Taught Me, How Not to Screw Up Your Marriage." So in this video, she talks about that as a married couple, you have a duty to marriage. Duty. She used that exact word. You have duty to marriage. And I couldn't agree more. When you're married, it is no longer about you. It's about the institution of marriage. It's about you being able to cater to the marriage. Now, I realize that that's not always maybe the case or how things viewed in all the countries, but marriage as a concept still holds overwhelmingly, I would say, throughout the world. This is how marriage is perceived, right? It takes over individual needs. Let me put it that way. So thank you, Heather, for sharing this video. I definitely recommend all of you to check it out. So I wanted to make a point about this. So if we take this creator's suggestion, she said that wife's duty to the marriage. Then if we work our way down from this principle, then we have partners' responsibilities in a committed relationship. All right? So there's still, maybe they're not duties, but they are responsibilities. That's the way I perceive that. And then if we take it one step down from that, we have proper vetting while dating to choose the right person. So maybe they're not responsibilities quite yet when you're dating, but you better be vetting. You better be doing your homework to figure out who this person is. So I do see the difference. The marriage is going to differ quite a bit from dating. Dating is going to differ quite a bit from a relationship. There are different stages, but in all of these stages, work needs to be done. Work needs to be put in to get to the next level, or to sustain it, for that matter. So the next question becomes, what tangible actions can you take? One of the things that is important is understand the dynamic of the relationship you are in. Why am I saying that? Because the question is, are you on the same page? There are plenty of relationships out there where people are not on the same page. She thinks they're in a relationship. He does not think that. He likes for her to be his girlfriend. She does not want to be his girlfriend, and so on and so forth. So it's of utmost importance to know whether or not you're on the same page. Do you both want the same thing? I would not be assuming anything. I would be asking those questions. I would be making that very, very clear to ensure that there is no confusion. If you are on the same page, cater to the relationship. What does it mean to cater to the relationship? Know your partner. Spend time. Identify things you both enjoy and do those things. Understand what's important to them. Because again, once you get to a certain point, it's no longer just about what you want to do. It's about what the other person wants to do. And so it's becoming balancing act. It is not all about you. Balancing act because, quite frankly, there needs to be a balance. If you only do things for the other person all the time, there's no balance. But if the other person always does things for you the entire time, there's also no balance. Maybe there's not going to be, again, 50-50, but there has to be balance suitable for this relationship that is found that works for both individuals. Let's look at some comments really quickly here before we continue. Estrella said, the way of dressing is sort of communication. Yes, it is. You're going to be telling the world who you are and what are you about. If you don't believe me, again, just go to some grocery stores, the one with big W that I usually bring up in the conversation. You're going to see what people portray themselves as when they go to big W. Don't forget to join the Discord. It's fun and we have everything. Correct. If you're not currently on Discord, you are missing out. We have a thriving community and individuals that support one another. So I highly encourage you to consider joining Discord. You can email me at russianprototype@gmail.com or send me a direct message on my Instagram at russianprototype. D said, I see a lot of people who seem not to take pride in personal appearance. You don't have to be dressed extravagantly, but at least putting yourself together goes a long way. That's exactly right. You don't have to take 1 hour all the time to get ready to leave the house when you're trying to get milk from the store. But you also don't have to leave the house in the shower cap and in a pair of slippers, flip-flop slippers. Well, I guess flip-flops in Florida is relevant. It's pretty hot in here. But most people should understand the difference between a sloppy look and non-sloppy look. And then there are also levels to this. Like if you going out and if you want to meet a guy, if you're a single female and you want to attract a single guy, do you think your appearance does not matter? If you think that, you are mistaken, my dear. It matters. And when I see somebody at the store who looks presentable, who looks at least decent, that's a first impression that I have of that person. Make no mistake about it. V, agreed. It seems people take marriage lightly. It takes work, and it seems people would rather divorce than try to make things work than things get hard. And oh, by the way, I didn't want to go there, but I have to. Divorce is somewhat incentivized in the United States. It is. You know, if you look at how the family court works in the United States, it becomes apparent that there's a lot of people benefiting from divorces. And hence, if that's the case, if there's incentive to get divorced, people naturally will be getting divorces. And so some of the problems are systematic. This is systematic issue that exists that incentivize divorces from a financial standpoint. It also does not help individuals to have the right mindset because, to your point, V, when things get hard, instead of trying to figure things out, they know that they always have this outlet, and when they quit, this could actually be easier for them in the long run. So why fight for something that is not worth it in their mind? So it's a cultural thing too. I hate to say that, but part of it has to be cultural because it is encouraged by the state, or at the very least, it's not discouraged by the state. Dia, that is a very good video. I think a lot of people would benefit from adopting these principles in marriage and relationships. Estrella said, marriage needs a lot of will and real love to get far. That's correct. That is correct. There's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's two people come together and they work towards the same purpose. You know, it's like it's like building something together. It's like you're building a house together, and then you might have different opinions on how to build this house. Yet you need to be able to complete this project, and this project does not have an end date. How do you work on a project that does not have an end date? I'll wait. This was one of the reasons my marriage ended. He never wanted to spend time with me, but had all time in the world for the bar. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jamie. Sweatpants or pajamas? I'm in pajamas. I see this all the time. I see it all the times too. Let me tell you, these folks, they attract other pajamas. So if you want to attract other pajamas, you can wear pajamas. When in doubt, follow the money. Unfortunately, the kids suffer the most in divorces involving children. I was the product of an unstable marriage with my parents. Yeah, I think a lot of people share this similar sentiment. I didn't want to be divorced. I felt like a total failure, but if the other person won't try and you are deeply unhappy, what else can you do? Yeah, those are difficult questions. Divorce can be a good thing, but sometimes it ends when therapy or counseling would have saved it. That I was going to mention that, therapy, counseling, seeking help elsewhere would need to be part of the process, because otherwise we're not utilizing all of the options that we have to save the marriage. But I can see how this can be so grueling, and assuming that even two people agree to do this, because there's probably going to be individuals who are not going to be open to do this to begin with. It takes two people to make it work through to make it work though, Jamie. If he didn't work in the marriage, it's important to leave. Australia, and I think the way you dress shows the respect you have for yourself and for others. Definitely for yourself. Definitely for yourself. Because if you're just wearing anything, if you're wearing the same thing that you wear when you're laying on the couch at home, I'm sorry, but you're just sloppy. You're just sloppy. I mean, I don't know what other word to use. You are you're too comfortable. You are showing your home self, your home body to the world. And quite frankly, the world doesn't need to see it sometimes. And if you're so proud of it, then just don't be mad that nobody wants to talk to you. Okay? That's it. D, if a person does not deal with the issues that contributed to their last marriage failing, the same thing will happen in the new relationship. It takes a lot of self reflection and change. Jamie, I tried to get him to go to marriage counseling. He refused. Thank you for sharing it. I know that's a lot. All right, we stopped that balancing act. It's not all about you. The next point is that we need to keep your emotions in check. And I can't stress this enough. I know we talked about it on a number of occasions, but this is a big point. Even if you do not agree with them being meaning your partner, find a way to communicate it in a calm, controlled manner. The thing is that I can tell you from a man perspective, when you start communicating through emotions, the the clock start ticking. What I mean by that exactly? I mean that emotions are destructive. They can be destructive in nature if you don't control them. If they're going to come out in an open, and if this is how you're going to position yourself within your relationship, that's going to press, it's going to put a lot of stress on the relationship that you're in. Again, it's never enough times to say that men don't operate on emotions. And we get in the gender differences here, but men can be emotional too. Men could yell and scream, and obviously that could go south very quickly as well. So I believe both it applicable to both partners. When you let emotions get the best of you, you start losing. You start losing because chances are you're going to offend, or you're going to say something that you're not supposed to say, or you're going to act like you normally would not act. It would be out of character type of behavior for you. When these things happen, it's just simply hard to turn back. There's some things that could be said or done that, quite frankly, you're not going to be able to apologize for. And those things could be driven by emotions. You know, when something said that is so offensive to another person, you can say I'm sorry, but that's kind of like a mental scar that stays. It's there. It's always there. You know, I remember when I had my longest relationship, you know, my ex mentioned something along the lines like my age and me not being married. And she made like this offhanded remark like, don't you need to get your shit together? You know, you're over 30 now. Don't you need to get your stuff together? And I'm like, so you're gonna use my age as a reason, you know, in this argument. You're essentially going to belittle me because you're unhappy about something. Do you think that that's going to be the best way to make men to listen to you or to do something? No, it's not. And again, I think different people will look at it differently and they will deal with it differently. Maybe some people will take it, but a lot of people won't. Estrella said, we must learn to be emotionally intelligent, to tame our emotions so that they won't affect us in a terrible way. Skillful people, not skillful people, reasonable people, intelligent people, they understand how to communicate their emotions without offending the other individual, without letting their emotions to get the best of them. It's not to say that you shouldn't feel. Of course, you're always going to feel. Of course, you may be unhappy in certain situations, but you got to understand that when you start being emotional, when you start, let's say, raising your voice, this is no longer just about how you feel. This is how you communicate that with the world. And oftentimes, it's easy to offend another person because it becomes, when you start yelling, you yelling at me. Hence, by default, it becomes personal. For one thing, it's offensive. Nobody like to be yelled at or to be disrespected. But secondly, you showcasing a side that people don't want to deal with. And especially, I'm speaking for a lot of men right now. You can tell me in the comments if women would feel the same way. But as a man, I don't want to be dealing with a woman who does not have control over her emotions, because I always talk to you about the peace, not the peace, just peace. And you can't, this is one of the most important things. If we don't have that peace when we're at home, or when we're with you for that matter, it doesn't matter if we're home or not. If we don't have peace, if you don't bring peace in the relationship, it's not going to last. V, I had a man tell me something similar on a date. I'm 33 and I had a guy tell me I was low value as a woman because I've never been married. Never saw that guy again. Yeah, these type of remarks, oh man, anytime that you're going to put another individual down, I don't think that you can expect something positive in return. So in this case, even if he thought that, you know, you don't have to go on a second date. You can be cool about it, you can be polite about it, or you can just simply say like, hey, I understand that this is your situation that does not work for me, and that's it. But to when you talk about these things verbatim, it's like you shoving your opinions into somebody else's face that way. There are no positive outcomes with that. I guess it comes down to whether or not you want to be a considerate, if you want to be a considerate person. And some people just aren't considerate, right? So there are different ways that you can communicate the same message. Peace is important. No one wants to live in a war zone. Absolutely not. Women need peace as much as men does. So here you go. So if that's the case, you wouldn't want a guy yelling at you or giving you drama. That would not be sustainable. That would take away your peace in a hurry. I can tell you it's definitely the case for men. We value it a lot. That's what we want. We crave it. We crave it. Oh, this is kind of cool. Bubbly. My friends, that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I want to acknowledge Prototype Fem that we have in the house. I appreciate every single one of you for joining live. Let's see, we have some more comments. Kim said, I run highly emotional, even being in therapy for quite some time. I've come a long way, but it's very hard for me not to say very sharp words if I feel disrespected by a man. I would like to be calm. Well, thank you for sharing it, first of all. Again, I know that these things not always easy to talk about. They personal in nature. Um, I think in my view, I think of the outcome, right? So in Russia, there's actually saying "Слово не воробей, вылетишь не поймаешь," which means that the word isn't a bird. Once it's out, you can catch it. What that means is that once you say something, you can't take it back, and it's out in the open. And if you can just like think ahead how what you say is going to affect the other person, it's kind of a neat exercise that could be helpful, right? So before I actually say it in my mind, I can think one or two steps ahead of what kind of effect these thought, these words are going to have on another individual. And so it takes practice like anything else, being able to think that way, being able to practice that. But I believe it really could be a helpful technique to censor what need to be said and what could be hold on, could be kind of paused. But also it's not just what to say, but it's how you say it. You can be, you know, to your point, Kim, you can have some sharp words, but you can change the sharp words to say, hey, I feel A, B, C, and D. You know, this is how your action makes me feel. This is the reason. So there's ways to explain in a different manner those sharp words to turn them around. Prototype fam, thank you for joining. Let me know if you have any additional questions or comments. I want to make sure I acknowledge folks that we had in the house today. I know this was a quick one compared to previous live streams, but this was a quick session, just action packed in and out. I really hope that some of these points helped out, and at the very least, maybe created some food for thought. So, next live stream date and time is to be not decided. Well, to be decided and to be announced. So stay tuned. Stay tuned on the community tab on YouTube. Stay tuned on Instagram stories. If you're not currently following me on Instagram, be sure to send me a request so you can stay up to date with everything on there. Discord, consider joining Discord. All the announcement also being communicated on there. Let's acknowledge some folks before we get out of here. Joanna, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Jamie was here live. Thank you for jumping on. V was here. Appreciate you being here. It's great to see every one of you. Estrella was here. Thank you for being here. Kim, appreciate you jumping on and sharing. Dia was here as well. Friendly Ghost Watcher, I come in peace. One of my favorite names. I love it. Thank you for being here. The Soliloquist was here earlier too, so I appreciate you joining. Listen, this is still holiday season. I want to wish every single one of you a happy new year. Happy New Year is the holiday in Russia. The holiday. This is very important for Russians to celebrate the new year. And there is a saying that however you will celebrate the new year, it's going to be the way that you will spend this following year. So my wish for you is to have happy, joyful celebration for this new year 2022. And I wish every single one of you an amazing 2022 filled with much happiness, much success, much love. Of course, we talk so much about love. With much love, many meaningful friendships and relationships, healthy family, and everything else that you will wish yourself, as we say in Mother Russia again. Happy New Year. Be blessed. Be healthy. Be happy. And most importantly, be grateful, my friends. Russian Prototype is out. Happy New Year.